Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome to Some Flight Sim World. And today I'm doing something a little different. I'm going to import this puppy, well, this is actually an airplane, into Flight Sim World. Now, I actually own the Skyhawk 2 package by Carenado for FSX. But just because it works in FSX does not mean it's going to work in Flight Sim World. Okay? So that's the first thing to say. The second thing to say is modifying Flight Sim World in any way, shape or form at the moment is not a fantastic idea. Flight Sim World is in beta. Right? So, unless you know what you're doing, and unless you're prepared to deal with bugs, crashes, potential problems because you have modded Flight Sim World, I recommend that you don't do it. But if you do know what you're doing and you know how to uninstall an aircraft properly, then there's no reason not to. Well, there is, but, you know, who cares about the EULA? Nobody reads them anyway. Okay, so let's get going. Two things here. This is my Flight Sim World directory, which I've got a little shortcut for on a desktop right here. And this is a dummy FSX directory that I have installed my target aircraft into. Now, to do that, all you need is just to create an FSX directory and dump these three files into it. I actually grabbed these two by accident. Anyway, so when I installed it, it dumped stuff into sim objects and effects, by the look of it, because those are the two directories that have been created. So all I need to do is go into sim objects. See, there's the Carenado, there's that. Check out the panel. All the stuff for the panel is in there. Excellent. So we don't have to worry about that. So all I can really have to do with that is go into sim objects and airplanes and just drag and drop it. Like that. Now I'm going to check effects because I don't think that there's anything in there that I really need to worry about. No, I'm not going to worry about those. And that's that done. Right. So now I'm going to open this, and I need to find the texture that I want to use. Now, you can actually set it up so all these textures become available, but I can't be bothered with that. I'm only ever going to fly one, so I also know which one I'm going to fly as well. It's this guy here with the cool little textures. So what I'm going to do is just delete all the others, and I'll leave blue because I believe it's the base texture as well. So I'm going to delete all those. Yes. Now you don't have to. Like I said, you could leave those in. Now I'm going to go into the stripes here. I'm going to open the thumbnail. And this is InfraView. If you don't have InfraView, it's a really cool little program. It allows you to open all kinds of media assets very quickly. And I'm just going to open it, and I'm going to save into the original folder. See, there's the original. I'm just going to change it to PNG and hit save. Because Flight Sim World won't read a JPEG. It has to be a PNG. So now we go back into the root folder. Open the aircraft config, drag it over to the window that I'm recording in because I have two monitors, and if I do this on the wrong monitor you won't be able to see a damn thing. Now, texture red, not interested. Texture red, not interested. Texture orange, nope, I'm not interested in that either, so I'm just going to delete it. Texture orange, don't care. Texture blue, that one I'm interested in. I'm going to keep it, and I'm just going to rename that to Sim0. And then what have we got here? Texture blue, don't care. Going to delete it. And then texture stripes, that's the other one I want, so I'm going to rename that to 1. There we go. And I'm going to hit save just so I know what I'm doing, where I'm at. Now I'm going to go back 1. Now this is a single prop, so I'm going to use the Piper, the stock aircraft, because I've got to copy something from the aircraft config. And I've got to drag it over to the correct window. Right, so to get this working, we need it to show up in the UI, in the aircraft selection process. And to do that, we need these. copy. Actually, we don't need this one. We don't need the created by. It's just easier to do. So I'm just going to copy those and then immediately close that and back into my Carenado directory, because I don't want to make any changes, accidental changes to any of the stock aircraft. Okay, so now I'm just going to go down here. Actually, I'm going to delete that because it doesn't matter. Down here, I'm going to delete that one as well and paste it in there. So now we've got, there we go. So now we've got this pasted into our imported aircraft. But before we continue, it's pointing at the wrong texture directory. I need it to point at the stripes one that I added that thumbnail into. So I'm just going to copy and paste, 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 and finally paste. I'm going to change that number. I think I'm up to 9 now. I don't know what that does. I think it's a unique number used for cataloging. I have no clue, but I try and remember to change it whenever possible. Now, we know we have the thumbnail config in there because it's right here, but we don't have the hanger, the selection, or the other hanger. Huh, it's referenced twice. So all I'm going to do is copy thumbnail and just paste it over the other ones, like so. You could, if you wanted to, go find other pictures that you would like to use and put those in. As long as they're a PNG file, it should be perfectly fine. So you don't have to reuse the thumbnail. You could use any other picture. Right, so that's that. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to close this. Going to close this. And now we will start Flight Sim World. Right, here we are in Flight Sim World, and I'm going to go to New Flight and select Aircraft. And there she is. Now you see the thumbnail looks really nice and pretty, but because I've reused the thumbnail for the background image, it's, you know, it's up here and all pixelated and nasty looking. Now, it's having a problem with the keyboard, with the kneeboard. Oh dear. That's it. that's the whole problem. So let's go to advanced weather and we'll select a departure airport. Does people still play that? And we'll go to London and hit confirm, and we will load the flight. And it's going to complain about the kneeboard again. You can actually hit cancel to ignore all errors. If you want to see if you can fix them, you can just go through them one by one. But cancel will just bypass the rest of the errors and try and load the aircraft, even if it's broken. Right, and here we are. So the first thing to notice is we have a model. And if we look inside, we also have a cockpit, which is pretty nice. So we've got our cockpit. It's rendering. It's textured. It looks okay. Brilliant. But there is one minor problem with this particular model, and that's this guy here. He doesn't seem to be rendering properly. And neither does this one. Look, if you notice very carefully, it's got a little bit of a notch missing on it. It's got basically the same notch that's missing on this one. If you can stand to live with those, that's great. I mean, honestly, they don't really detract from the aircraft at all. So, yeah, there you go. We've got the Cessna in here. It all works. I don't have my stick plugged in, but yep, there you go. There's the yoke operating. Yep. And the rudder pedals, they work. Throttle. See, throttle works. Of course, none of the cockpit is actually interactive, but all the gauges work. And it looks pretty from the outside. Now, keep in mind that this is still using legacy FSX compatible textures. So don't expect the same kind of beautiful texture response from weather patterns and shading and sun reflections that you would get with the standard aircraft from Dovetail. But that's it. It's in and it's running. That's basically the same process you can use with most aircraft. Copy over the folder, copy over the necessary gauges with caution. Just remember which gauges you're copying over so you can delete them. Make that change to the air file or the aircraft config file by adding the thumbnail and adding the reference so it shows up in the menu, and that should be it. But again, remember, not all aircraft are going to import properly, and this is not something that is recommended or indeed supported by Dovetail. So do this at your own risk. Now, this is a process you can use with pretty much any aircraft, as long as you are careful and you import the correct files and realize that not all aircraft are going to import. Some may cause problems, some may require additional DLLs, which I recommend you steer clear of. If it's asking for a DLL and you're not sure about what's in it, don't add it. Especially don't add anything to the trusted software list. When it comes up during loading the aircraft, if it asks you about loading a dial or a gauge, and it says, do you want to add this to the trusted? Don't say yes. Because after that it will automatically load that gauge without asking you, and that can lead to all kinds of headaches and problems later on. Anyway, that's about it for now. We've got this little puppy in and running. Your experience with other aircraft may vary considerably. Like I said, not all aircraft are as compatible with FSW. But yeah, have fun and try not to break anything. I will see you anon.